So, a Florida man. He was
always Florida.
A Florida man was out magnet fishing.
Doing what?
Magnet fishing.
Like fishing for magnets?
Nope, fishing with a magnet. So I guess it's something you do in Florida. I don't know. But instead of a hook, he had a big magnet. So he was looking for valuables on the ocean floor.
So like one of those crane games, but it's like a magnet?
I guess.
But that.
I like to just envision him with a regular fishing pole and he like tied a magnet to it. And...
Sure. But I'm not thinking like one with an actual reel that you'd get at like Bass Pro Shop. But like, hey, if you need you need some advertising space, Bass Pro Shop, we got you. But like, I imagine just like a stick with like yarn at the end, like super low tech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I envisioned that.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-person job, magneting.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's... Or you have to have someplace you can stick the stick. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so guy...
You could have gone with place the stick, put the stick.
Yeah, stick the stick.
Sounds like a hockey move. Stick the stick, Charlie.
Well, he found something.
Mighty Ducks.
This Florida man found something. I don't know how often he finds something that's worth like some decent money, but he actually found some memorabilia, I guess you could call it, from World War II.
Off the Florida coast?
Yeah. I don't know if it was like maybe from training or something, or if it actually floated all the way over here.
No, there had to have been some naval bases in Florida, and this whatever this memorabilia is, must have fallen off a ship or something. I can't. There were no battles anywhere near Florida.
Not that I know of.
Unless there were some secret battles that no one's told us about. Get your tinfoil hats out, people.
I'm sure
we got a conspiracy theory.
We would have seen a documentary on the History Channel by now.
Ken Burns would have done a 4-hour documentary on just one battle.
So it wasn't like a medal.
That's conservative.
It wasn't a medal. Well, it was made of metal, but it wasn't like a medal.
We get it, Ken Burns. You can make long movies.
It wasn't like a bayonet or something cool like that.
Big fan of your baseball documentary, though, Ken. It was awesome.
It was a hand grenade.
What?
Yes, with the pin still in.
He found a live grenade?
He found a live grenade from World War II. And the story goes, he threw it in the back of it, knew what it was, threw it in the back of his truck.
Florida man.
Pin was in. So,
still.
And
it was old.
And, you would think at that point he calls the authorities or someone, hey, I found a grenade. Like, what should I do with it? Still got the pin in.
Like called the Pentagon?
And he did call
I found your grenade.
He did call the authorities, but he had to make a crucial stop first. Taco Bell. He was hungry. It was like 5 p.m. Long day of magneting. So he drives to Taco Bell, gets his crunchy gordita, and I don't know what he got. Maybe a Baja Blast.
Live Más.
Baja Blast would be apropos.
Right. That means live more in Spanish.
No, it means appropriate.
What does?
Apropos.
I was talking about what I said, Live Más.
Ah, yes.
Their slogan. Taco Bell, if you need a place to advertise.
Grenade in trunk, Baja Blast in hand. He calls the police and says, hey, found a grenade. They evacuate the entire Taco Bell, evacuate the parking lot for several hours as like bomb squad can come and take care of this. And I think it was they determined it wasn't a risk, but they took it from him. And so we
so even if he pulled the pin and threw it, nothing would have happened, basically, because it had been underwater for almost 80 years, right?
Yeah. So they removed the device without incident, reopened the Taco Bell later that day. So one of the few stories about Taco Bell where you hear of something explosive happening and not related to the food. This is Subjectively Correct Sports, the only show taking place in this corner of my house featuring David, Anthony, myself, and me, and I, and no one else, just the two of us, and you, listener, you fan. You can find the show on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. You can come watch live.
No. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. There's no room for you here.
However you choose.
Except for that last way.
To consume our show. Subscribe, like it, give it a rating. Send us an email. subjectivelycorrect@gmail.com. Visit the website, www.subjectivelycorrect.com. Send that link to your friends. It'll make it very easy for them to subscribe. There's a link. Subscribe. You're done.
And you get stories like that grenade story every week.
Yeah. Volatile. I don't know what I was saying.
What? You just said the word volatile.
Yeah. Our show, it's very volatile. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Like, it could be good or really bad.
Either way, it's fun.
Or just meh.
I think we're in that sweet spot where, like, when we're terrible, it's funny.
Yeah.
And when we're good, it's like, wow, those guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And we're never in the middle.
We can't lose.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
When it's bad, it's funny.
Yeah. We're either a comedy show or a very kind of like high-level sports analysis show.
Yeah. We're like the Thinking Man Sports Show and the Idiots Podcast.
Yeah. It's like Darren Ravel meets Three Stooges.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We just need another stooge.
So before we get into
who would I be?
The topic of the day or topics.
Mo? Too little to be Mo. Curly.
I have an apology.
I'm definitely not a Larry.
I have to make an apology, David.
Oh, to me?
Nope.
I have a list of... No? Okay.
Never to you. I need to apologize to Tony Romo. Last week on the show, we were talking about his brilliance.
Yeah.
His possible time traveling.
His football clairvoyance.
And I mentioned, if he is such a football savant, how is it possible that he didn't lead the Cowboys to playoff victories, right, every year? And I overlooked that he does have 2 playoff wins on his resume.
Hey, yeah, that's on you, man.
One from 2009 against the Eagles.
Yep.
Well done. One from 2014 over the Lions. The 2014 year, I do remember that one because the next round is when they lost to the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round.
Oh, that's the catch game, right?
The catch, no catch. The Des Bryant catch, no catch, where the ball bobbles but was his hand under the ball the whole time.
If you're a Patriot, that's a catch. If you're not a Patriot, it's not a catch.
That's right.
So,
yeah. And if you're playing the Packers anywhere from like 2012 to 2017, it's not a catch. Right?
Makes sense.
They seem to get the benefit of a lot of calls during that time frame. Not so much anymore. So, Tony Romo, I'm sorry, but of course, you being from the future knew I was going to apologize. So, was this even necessary for me to do?
I still don't feel like time travel is possible. And I feel like he just knows a lot about football. But I don't mean to poo-poo your idea. But I am poo-pooing all over that idea. No, he's not from the future, Anthony. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
There is the theory going around that the game is on a 15-second delay. Like the audio is real time, but the video is delayed.
No. And the timing of that would be so hard. The timing of that would be so difficult, and he times it up almost perfectly every time.
The other theory going around is that there is a feed that goes from the offensive coordinator or head coach to the quarterback. Okay, and that they can tap into that up until about 15 seconds before the play. And so there's a theory that he has that feed. He's listening to it, so he knows generally kind of what to look for on a given play.
Nope. Can't people just understand that this man's life, his job, was to play football, and he did it at the highest level in the world. And when he played, he was one of the best quarterbacks out there. He was an elite quarterback. So why can't people just understand that maybe this guy knows more about football than you? I don't understand why we're coming up with all these conspiracy theories about him listening in on stuff when he just might know a lot of football.
Or is a time traveler.
Okay, let's talk NBA.
Okay.
So, collusion's a thing.
Well,
I mean...
it happens, sure.
I mean, I feel like the conspiracy theorists are out in force right now in the NBA because the unibrow's on the move. And, I feel like everyone in the NBA and all the fans, deep in their basketball hearts, know, whether it's true or not, that LeBron James is this puppet master, just like pulling all these strings. It doesn't help that he has his own sports agency called Clutch Sports. It doesn't help that his childhood friend, Rich Paul, is an agent. I mean, this doesn't help.
His agent and the agent for several very prominent, soon-to-be free agents.
Coincidence? So Anthony Davis told the Pelicans, in a move that I feel like stars are going to go to more and more, they're going to their teams and saying, I have a year left on my contract. I'm not going to sign an extension with this organization. So the team is basically handcuffed. If they just let the player go, they lose a star player for nothing and get nothing in return. Or you can trade him in that season or in the next season to get something out of him. Because losing a player to free agency like that is just awful. It's basically wasting an asset.
Yeah. So let's recap the Anthony Davis situation. Okay. So his contract runs through the 2020 season. So he's got a year and a half left on his contract. Okay. We've got 10 days until the NBA trade deadline for this current season. Okay. So his agent over the weekend notified the Dell Demps, the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans.
Right, and this agent of his is
Rich Paul,
LeBron James' best buddy.
Yeah,
right.
They notified the Pelicans that they weren't going to sign the extension, and they would prefer to be traded sooner rather than later. Right, and so the Pelicans have essentially 4 options. Okay, they can trade him in the next 10 days.
Yeah.
Okay, to any team that's willing to, give up probably a combination of picks, young assets, but they have to match up contracts for players that are coming over.
So the idea is desperation time. Are there teams desperate and would do anything for an Anthony Davis right now?
Mm-hmm. They can wait till the end of the season because there's specific teams, and the most important team, the Boston Celtics, who could not trade for Anthony Davis right now because we won't really get into it. There's a certain there's a certain type of contract that you can't have 2 of on your books. And Kyrie Irving has that type of contract. It's when you sign a certain type of extension. Kyrie Irving is one of those players, and so the Celtics already have him on the roster. They couldn't then add Anthony Davis
because he's on the same type of contract.
They could trade Kyrie Irving for Anthony Davis, but that doesn't seem to make much sense. And so
Drew Holiday, yo.
But
respect Drew Holiday.
Yeah, but the Celtics could. They have a number of picks from other teams that'll be really good picks. They have a few really good young players.
Drew Holiday is the current point guard for the Pelicans, and he's good on both ends of the court. That's why I said respect Drew Holiday. I feel like that required a little bit of explanation. I'm sure that a lot of people are like, is he saying the Jewish holidays? Are you saying respect Jewish holidays? Yeah, you should respect all holidays and everyone's beliefs. It's 2019.
I mean, there's some beliefs that are just bad.
Well, yeah, but I mean, not come on.
Okay.
Be inclusive.
So the Celtics are interesting because they have a number of young players and picks from other teams that'll be highly sought after.
Because they have this endless reservoir of assets, these Boston Celtics.
Danny Ainge is the smartest GM in the world because as long as he has these picks, he's never going to be fired by the ownership because he always has the potential to pull off a major trade. Right?
Yeah.
But he just doesn't. He kind of like just adds a little to the pile every year. He's almost like Smog, right?
Yeah.
He's just increasing his riches and never actually using them. Right? I like that reference.
It was a good reference. Shout out Benedict Cumberbatch does the voice.
Okay.
In the movies, of course. He didn't voice Smog in the book.
So the Celtics couldn't trade for him
because it was a book
until free agency starts.
He should read the audiobook of The Hobbit. That would be amazing. Would you buy that?
Would I?
Yeah.
I have. Well, I have the audiobook of The Hobbit.
But does Benedict Cumberbatch read it?
No, it's some old guy.
I think Benedict Cumberbatch reading The Hobbit, James Earl Jones reading the Bible. I would love that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think James Earl Jones has done the Bible.
Get out of town.
I'm pretty sure he has. Yeah. We'll effort that. We'll
Dude, Darth Vader telling me stories about Jesus, I'm all about that.
All right. So 2 scenarios. Trade by the trade deadline or have to wait till the summer after the season's over. Scenario 3, trade him by next year's trade deadline, the 2020 deadline, right? And if you're a team trading for him next year, you're trading for him on the premise that he's only going to be with you probably for a few months, help you in the playoffs, and you just need that one star to get you over the hump, right? And maybe you convince him to stay, maybe not, right? It's kind of a gamble.
The Manny Machado situation in LA was kind of similar. They brought him on, and it was his last bit of his contract. So the hope was either he comes, he helps us win a championship, and then maybe he sticks around, or maybe we lose and he sticks around. But either way, they were betting on him being able to help them win a championship.
Yeah,
didn't work out, but
yeah. And then option 4, they do nothing. They let him play out this year and next year, and hope that by the end of next year they're a much better team. Yeah. I'm just saying it's an option.
I see why you saved that one for the end.
Yeah. So
better team.
I think if you were betting on this, I think scenario 2 is the most likely to happen.
Which one was that? There was a lot of stuff in the middle of that confused everything. What was the second option?
A lot of stuff like the Hobbit and your holidays. and all that stuff.
It was Drew Holiday, the basketball player.
Yeah. Scenario 2 was waiting till this summer, right? And the reason I think the Pelicans would do that is because there's going to be more offers on the table, better offers than they will get right now. Because right now, there's only a few teams that really have players that they would offer up that can match salaries. There's really only a couple teams. The Knicks and the Lakers are two teams that kind of stand out, that have some young players that they'd be willing to give up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the 76ers, maybe they trade Jimmy Butler for Anthony Davis straight up, but then the Pelicans, what are they getting? They're getting Jimmy Butler for half a year, and he walks at the end of the year. Because the thing is, you have to match salaries when you're doing players, and Anthony Davis is making something like $27 million a year. So not many teams have that type of money on the books that they can trade that the Pelicans would actually want. Because they either want young talent or contracts that would expire at the end of the year so that they have money to play with in the summer.
Well, do you think New Orleans would be open to going full rebuild mode and go for assets, particularly draft assets?
Yeah, I think if you're the Pelicans, you have to do that because you're not going to compete. No matter who you get back in return, you're not going to compete with the Warriors. You know, if the Lakers get another superstar, with the Lakers, with the Rockets, you're not going to compete with the Thunder.
They're not competing now with one of the best young dynamic players in the league.
Right.
So when you lose him, of course, so you feel like no matter what, New Orleans has to go into rebuild mode.
Yeah. And so the question that keeps coming to my mind is who actually has the leverage in this situation, right?
Anthony Davis.
You have New Orleans, right?
Oh, talking teams? Okay.
Well, yeah, all the players involved, right? So you've got the Pelicans, right? Let's say the Lakers, because there's reports that they have targeted Anthony Davis. They would trade the farm for him. And then Anthony Davis himself. So New Orleans has leverage as it relates to other teams, okay? So they can...
Okay, so they have the asset everybody wants.
They have the asset everyone wants, right? So they have the ability to listen to offers and to just take the best offer for them in their own timeline, okay? The Lakers have leverage right now in that not many other teams can trade for Anthony Davis. And so if the Pelicans are worried about him losing him, about not getting the offers that they would want to get in the summer, like maybe now, if they wait, for example, Lakers make an offer that's a good offer right now. They don't take it. Summer comes around, they're expecting better offers, and for whatever reason they don't get those, the Lakers offer does not improve at that point, right? If anything, it's the same or gets worse, right? So the Lakers have some leverage right now for the Pelicans to get a deal done, right? When Anthony Davis's value is super high. You never know what can happen over the next 6 months or so. But all of this comes down to Anthony Davis. If he wants to be a Laker, he just needs to say that right now. And there's nothing really the Pelicans can do. They can trade him away like they did with Paul George, like the Pacers did with Paul George.
Yeah.
But with the Thunder and the Pacers, that was a pretty different situation. Paul George at that time wasn't viewed like Anthony Davis is. No. Anthony Davis is
younger, healthier,
and unique. You know, there's not many 7-footers who have the skill that he has.
Unicorn. They call him unicorns.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis is the white stallion of the unicorns.
And so if Anthony Davis says, I want to be a Laker,
because he's white,
that shuts down offers from all the other teams, right? The Boston Celtics aren't going to give up their cache of picks and Jason Tatum and other young stars for a guy who says, I want to be a Laker.
Right, so I see what you're saying. But if you're the Pelicans, you have an obligation to do what's best for your team no matter what.
That's right.
I mean, whatever Anthony Davis says, who cares? But you're saying when Anthony Davis comes out and says, I want to be a Laker, or if even his agent's putting that out there, other teams instantly say, okay, we don't want just a year of Anthony Davis. And we just don't want him to walk after a year. So the Lakers then becomes the only place where he'll actually stick around.
Yeah, right. And so that's what happened with Paul George. It diminished his trade value.
Yeah.
And at the time, everyone thought, wow, the Thunder really got... Like, even though they were only going to get him for a year, what a great trade, because all you had to do was give up Victor Oladipo and Sabonis, right? Well, they've turned out to be pretty good players, especially Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, he got hurt. He's out the rest of the year.
Yeah, really unfortunate.
I feel bad for him because I liked his play since he was on the Magic. And so to see him excel and kind of be the centerpiece in Indiana that felt really good for me because I respected his game a lot.
Yeah.
And, I feel bad for him.
But it was viewed at the time as not getting equal talent. Right?
Yeah.
Like the Pacers could have gotten more from maybe other teams, but because Paul George was so adamant that he wanted to be a Laker, the Celtics weren't willing to give up picks. The Cleveland wasn't willing to give up what was going to be a high draft pick. I think it ended up being like number 8.
So Paul George had his heart set on being a Laker, and that's what he said. He gets traded to OKC.
To the Thunder. He was there for a year.
And then in free agency, he chose the Thunder again?
Yes. So he chose the Thunder before Magic even had a chance to pitch him the Lakers.
Well, then why are we even listening to these players when they say I want to go here, I want to do that? Why are we listening to them? Because clearly most of these players are out for their best interest, whether that's they want to win or they want the most money or they want to be in a specific place.
Yeah.
So why?
Well,
it's all posturing, and who can you trust?
Yeah. Well, if you're a GM and you hear, if you hear from a player, I don't want to play for your team, I want to play for that team, it takes a lot of courage to say, I'm going to ignore what you're saying, I'm going to give up the few assets I have, and I'm going to trade for you, and I'm going to convince you that you want to be here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, up until that Paul George situation, we hadn't seen that a lot.
Dude, that's the ultimate bet on yourself kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to love this so much. Like, we're going on this date because your mom owes me, and we're going to go on this date. But I'm putting my full effort into this, and I know you're going to fall in love with me on this date.
Somehow Sam Presti, the GM of the Thunder, the guy who lost Kevin Durant, who
Yep.
traded away James Harden,
Yep.
chose Serge Ibaka over James Harden,
Yep.
broke up Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Somehow he convinced Paul George to stay. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge, a very tall bridge. I can't even see the water anymore. But Anthony Davis holds most of the cards right now. If he comes out and says Lakers only, then it puts the Lakers in a really good position. I think they would still offer up whatever New Orleans wanted.
Well, yeah, because they have to, because New Orleans can always just say, no, we'll hang on to it. And someone will offer something for Anthony
they'll
Davis
get something,
if he's on the trading block.
They'll get something decent for him. It's never going to be equal value. You never get equal value when you trade the star away.
Right, because the star is so valuable in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a sure thing, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So, question.
Yeah.
You have a string of initials on our notes here, and I recognize some of them, but I know you know what they are, and it's listed under 2019 free agents.
Yeah.
Is this your list in order of the biggest free agents of 2019? Like, so this offseason, or what am I looking at?
Yeah,
here?
more or less. So
is that Kristaps Porzingis?
Yes. So my thought process was, do the Lakers need to act right now? Because obviously I'm concerned most about the Lakers, right? And so the thought process was, do you trade away everything to get Anthony Davis? I think my answer is yes, because you always do the sure thing, right? For a star of that talent.
Yeah.
Okay. And Anthony Davis doesn't come around very often. And so I was just thinking, okay, you have the Paul George and Kawhi situations where, they say Magic failed or Lakers failed to get these players. One, the Lakers weren't even allowed to make an offer on Paul George. The Pacers did not want to deal with him because... So there's the other thing, is when a star says, I want to go to the Lakers or I want to go to this team, often the team that has the player doesn't want to deal with that other team, right? Because it makes them look bad. Especially when you're dealing with the Lakers. Who wants to help the Lakers, right? They're the Yankees of the... What are you looking at me like that for?
Oh, no, I was just... A lot of Lakers homers coming out right now.
No. I'm saying teams don't want to deal with the Lakers. Oh, sorry. Like, why would you want to deal with the Lakers?
I thought you were going to go to Lakers homer mode, and so I kind of shut down a little bit. I stopped listening.
Oh, my goodness. So they lost out on Paul George and Kawhi.
I just want to be honest.
But they didn't ever get a chance to actually pitch them, right?
Okay, so it sounds like you're defending the Lakers, which is why I think I was starting to tune you out, because I was hearing Lakers homer coming out.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get to the point of, do they need to act now, right? Here are the free agents coming up, right? Say they whiff on Anthony Davis, or they don't make an offer on Anthony Davis, thinking with an eye towards this offseason.
Okay.
Unrestricted free agents you have, and this is like the offseason of the Ks, right? Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Which, very interesting what's going on there with him and LeBron.
Rewind.
LeBron sending him messages on Instagram.
Rewind.
They're all buddy-buddy again.
Rewind.
Irving called LeBron to apologize for...
And apparently asked for his advice.
So...
Who saw that coming? All of you raising your hands right now, stop it. You did not.
Kemba Walker.
Kemba? He's balling out, dude.
KT. Who's KT? Klay Thompson. He's a free agent. Chris Middleton on the Bucks. Kristaps Porzingis, he's a restricted free agent. So
the Knicks can match whatever offer he gets.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler, DeMarcus Cousins,
Tobias
Harris. Yeah. So those were like my top 10 or so free agents, right? And so all of them except Porzingis will get to choose where they go at the end of the season. Many of them will probably re-sign with their current teams because that's what happens. Is you get the most money in most years.
Yeah, that's how the contracts are set up in the NBA. You're incentivized for staying with your team.
Yeah, but
financially incentivized.
I don't think
by making more money.
I don't think the worst case scenario is that the Lakers panic and trade for someone else, right? Like a Tobias Harris, right?
And then he leaves at the end of the year.
And then he leaves, right? Like that's the worst case scenario, okay?
Well, I don't think they won't do that because you have LeBron on contract for another 2 years after this. They're gonna play this slow. They're gonna play the slow game, and I think the Lakers will be. I think they'll be competing for Western Conference championships in a couple of years because that's what LeBron does. LeBron doesn't know any other way to be. I hope so. That's LeBron mode.
Hope so.
In fact, I still don't count them out to make noise in the Western Conference playoffs this year.
We'll see.
I mean, heaven knows LeBron James is well rested.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Staples Center knows that LeBron James is well rested. I figured I would speak your language a little.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think you have to trade for Anthony Davis, but if it's available, if the Pelicans are willing to deal with you, ship out whoever you need to ship out. If they're not landing LeBron, who cares? Kuzma's awesome. I think Ingram have tons of potential. But if we're talking about a 4 or 5 year window, like for LeBron, right? Let's maximize the people around him. And I think you have to give up whatever you need to get Anthony Davis.
So your take with the Anthony Davis situation from a Lakers perspective is trade if you can, or if you feel like it's a good thing, or don't. Either one.
I mean, I think failing to get Anthony Davis isn't a nightmare scenario because you have a bunch of free agents in the offseason. I think you get at least one of them.
Because
I think
people are going to want to come and play with LeBron.
Plan A would be Anthony Davis. You pair 2 generational talents, hard to beat, right?
Yeah.
But Plan B isn't as bad, as nightmarish as some commentators are going to make it out to be.
Yeah. And again, Lakers fans, patience. You have the best player in the world who has his own sports agency.
Yeah.
You're going to be all right, so don't panic.
So the next...
Don't panic, Anthony.
When you're watching this or listening to this, the next 9, 8, 7, 5, whenever you listen to this, the next few days will be interesting to see if anything happens with Anthony Davis. If I'm the Pelicans, I think I want to wait till the summer just to see, because you're going to get a lot more offers in the summer.
Also, if he gets hurt between now and the summer...
That's a big deal.
That would be a bummer.
Yeah.
You'd have another DeMarcus Cousins situation.
You might just sit him the rest of the year. I mean, if your plan is to trade him this summer, you might just shut him down.
It's basically what Kawhi did, but he did a self-imposed sit out.
And I want to defend Anthony Davis's decision a little bit because, I'm hearing from some people. I mean, maybe a lot of them are New Orleans fans, but they're lamenting the small market teams that can't keep these big players, right? And yes, it's true. They get paid a lot of money from their teams, but they get paid so much more in endorsements. And the fact that Anthony Davis is on a losing team, is not starting in the All-Star game, and doesn't have a signature shoe, like, he's a Nike athlete just like Giannis is. But Giannis is surrounded by talent, and the Bucks have been very proactive about building this roster around him, and he's got a signature shoe for Nike. Anthony Davis doesn't. Why? Giannis is the captain of the East team, right? Anthony Davis probably wishes he were the captain of an all-star team. And so you have these guys who are pretty similar in their careers in terms of, like, I think Giannis is maybe like 5 years in, and Anthony Davis is like 7 years in, something like that. But they play similar positions or the same position, both power forward centers. And if I'm Anthony Davis, I'm wondering why, I have just as much talent as that guy. Different skill set maybe, but just as much talent. I can't capitalize on it here, and I need to be somewhere else.
I'm never going to fault someone for trying to find a better working situation. I'm never going to fault someone saying, I want to move and work in a better environment or for more money. I'm never going to question that.
Yeah.
Unless you're leaving the 49ers and going to another team. Then I'll hate you forever. But New Orleans fans, you have nothing to... I mean, calm down, New Orleans fans. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I will never begrudge someone for finding a better situation for themselves or their families. I will never begrudge that.
You know who's not leaving their current team anytime soon? James Harden. Because James Harden doesn't actually have a team.
No, he doesn't need one.
He doesn't need a team.
And you guys think like we're just saying that? No, there's statistical evidence to prove that he doesn't need anybody.
Yeah, he went something like...
I realize I said that with a comma. It was a period. I'm sorry. So can I redo that?
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't need anybody. See how that was different?
Oh, yeah. That was poignant.
It was. It changed
impactful.
the dynamic of the entire flow of the conversation and things. And I feel like it kind of halted the conversation a little bit. So instead of like just moving past it, I feel like it was important to re-explain, to retry it, and then drag the whole show into the mud by going on this long, drawn-out explanation about why I felt like I needed to rephrase what I said.
Thanks, David.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so he got up, to like 85, 86 unassisted baskets or something like that in a row?
I feel like that's an objectively correct stat that we might hear later in the show.
Okay. All right. Well, let's you got any more basketball talk?
No, I think we know. Oh.
The Curry brothers highlighting the headlining, the three-point contest.
Couldn't care less.
You know that the two, this isn't one of my objectively correct stats, but the two active NBA players with the highest three-point percentage, Stephen and Seth Curry, brothers. Isn't that pretty cool?
So not that the two, okay.
Active players.
The two active players with the highest combined field goal percentage is
three-point percentage.
So are they number 1 and number 2 then?
I think so.
They'd have to be, right?
Oh yes, that's how it works.
There's no other mathematical way that could happen.
I mean, they could be 2 and 1.
Right. So Steph's number 1 and Seth is number 2?
I don't know. They're 1 and 2. One of them's 1, one of them's 2.
Neat.
Cool.
Stats are fun.
Also, oh no, this is my objectively correct stat. I'm gonna save it for later.
Nice. Anthony, I'm very excited.
Okay.
We played a game last week where you quizzed me on trophies, and I tried to guess or championship trophies or the name of championships or whatever, and I had to guess what sport they came from. Grey Cup? The CFL?
CFL, yeah.
Dude, come on. President's Cup was rowing?
No, that was America's Cup.
America's Cup. See, whatever. I have a game for you today.
It was yacht sailing.
Yacht sailing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Darling. Yacht.
Is that your rich
That's my rich
guy with the
mid-Atlantic accent.
Were you twirling it with your glass of wine?
Yeah.
Yeah, she. Yeah.
It's like an old-timey news reporter mixed with Thurston Howell III.
I'm very proud of
And that's a timely reference.
Yeah, I'm proud of the one person who got that, because it wasn't me. Okay, time for my game.
Yeah.
This is what sport do they play?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give you a name of an athlete. You have to tell me what sport this athlete plays.
Okay.
Okay, I promise there's like at least one and maybe half of a softball in here. Okay, you ready?
Okay. There are no softball players, are there? Oh, no. All right.
Cristian Kiko Alonso.
Cristian Alonso.
Kiko is his nickname. That's like his short name.
Okay.
So Cristian or Kiko Alonso.
Okay, I want to say soccer, and I'm going to say soccer.
No, he's a linebacker for the Dolphins.
Of course he is.
Okay. Filip Filipovic.
Filip Filipovic. Tennis.
No, water polo.
Of course.
I'm guessing Filipovic. I think it's Philip's son of
You
Philip,
start
I'm guessing. Okay, next one.
Water polo's number 2.
Dude, you don't know who Kiko Alonso is? Okay.
No, I do when you say it like that.
I said Kiko Alonso. Okay. Go to the judges for that one. Okay, next one.
Stop doing accents. All right, just do English, American.
Zinedine Zidane.
Soccer, French, headbutter.
Yes. Bonus points for the knowledge there. Okay, Michael Van Gerwen.
Michael Van Gerwen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It should. I think it should sound a little familiar to you.
It should?
I think so. I think it should sound a little familiar. I think we may have talked about him on the show.
Is he a linebacker?
No.
Van Gerwen. Mm-hmm. Van Gerwen.
This guy is a world champion dart thrower.
Ah! Okay.
He might be one of the fart throwers, too.
Oh, my goodness.
Not sure. Next one. Kyle Trope.
Baseball.
That's a good guess. He's actually a full-time afro grower.
But that's not a sport. That's not an athlete.
A part-time pro bowler. This guy's afro is amazing.
This is a stupid game.
You're a stupid game. Sophia Dunkley.
Dunk. Is there a clue in the name?
No, there is not.
Okay.
Sophia.
Olympic or non-Olympic sport?
I want to say non. But if it were an Olympic sport, I wouldn't pay attention to it. So I'm not a good person to ask if this sport's an Olympic sport or not.
Perfect. Lacrosse.
Oh, good guess. No. Cricket.
That's a lawn stick game.
Okay.
That's the same subcategory of
Okay. Now
genre.
I think we're getting a little bit more into the easier ones now.
Oh,
okay.
thankfully.
Okay. Ryan.
Fitzpatrick?
No. Ryan Arcidiacono. Ryan Arcidiacono.
Is Arcidiacono one name?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the surname. Ryan Arcidiacono.
Can you tell me where he's from?
No, because I don't know.
What?
I can tell you he plays a sport that involves a ball.
Billiards.
Go close. He's a Chicago Bull. He plays it in the NBA.
He's in the NBA?
Yes. Okay.
Yikes.
Here we go. This one might help you out. Okay. Adam McCreary.
Why am I blanking on his...
Adam McCreary.
Yes, I know McCreary. Where is he from? Hold on. This is bad.
This is going to kill you.
This is really bad.
Adam McCreary.
Adam McCreary. Can I get a hint?
Yeah, you should know this guy. I'll say that. You should know him. Adam McCreary.
I don't know. Football.
No, he's a Dodger.
What?
Yeah, this dude's a Dodger.
Since when?
Adam McCreary. I don't know, since I Googled it.
Adam McCreary?
Yeah.
He's definitely not on the roster.
Look it up. I just looked it up today.
Adam McCreary?
Yeah, Adam McCreary. Finish the game.
I'm looking up
Go ahead,
Adam
look it
McCreary.
up. Can I give you the next one now?
How do you spell McCreary?
You got E-E-R. Yeah. See? There he is. Boom.
Why has he got a
Los
Braves
Angeles
hat
Dodgers? Well, he's probably just acquired. Looks like a minor league prospect. Anyway, next on the list.
Why should I know him?
Isaac Bonga.
He was traded to the Dodgers in November.
Okay, there you go.
For cash.
Hot stove. Come on, pay attention to the hot stove.
right.
Okay, next name. Okay, this one, you might know this one too. Isaac Bonga.
Yeah, I know him.
Okay.
He's a Laker.
Yeah.
Currently playing for the South Bay Lakers.
There you go. Nice. Dropping some extra knowledge again. Okay.
From Germany.
This one should also be
19 years
easy.
old.
Christian Pulisic.
He is America's hope for a good soccer team.
Yeah. In other words, he's America's next great disappointment in soccer.
Is he in the German league? Or
Yeah,
Premier
the
League?
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga.
I know that from playing
Bundesliga.
FIFA. All right. And then my final one, and this one's kind of a softball too. Chad Johnson.
As in Ocho Cinco?
Chad Johnson.
As in the retired football player?
Chad Johnson. Is that your final answer? The football player?
Yes.
No. The Bruins goaltender, Chad Johnson, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, you weren't good at that game.
I'm just going to throw around random names of people who don't exist next time and see what you can... I'm going to give you names of colors in French and you tell me their English name. I don't know. This is a stupid game. Thanks, David. That was a great game. Well researched.
You're just jealous because you lost hard.
Did I? Well, there were no rules.
You got two right, therefore you lost.
It's a pass.
I have a 2 of diamonds and an ace of spades. I win.
That's good. That's Big Daddy.
Yeah. Little Adam Sandler joint.
So I definitely didn't make the Hall of Fame of your game, David.
Nice segue.
Oh, but you know who did make the Hall of Fame? And was the first ever unanimous first ballot inductee for the Baseball Hall of Fame?
No, first ever, 100% ever.
Unanimous, yeah.
Yeah, first ever. Not just first ballot, but ever.
But yes, unanimous first ballot.
Yeah.
Yes.
But not just, okay, yeah.
Unanimous means everyone.
I know what it
it's
means.
100%.
But you
It was
qualified.
implicit.
You qualified it by saying first ballot. Like,
Well, there's unanimous second ballot. 100% on the first time, Mariano Rivera. Golf clap for Mariano. But should he have been the first ever 100% unanimous first ballot?
Who was the guy that said Ted Williams isn't on my Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that said Babe Ruth isn't on my Hall of Fame
the best
ballot?
baseball player ever at that time.
Cal Ripken Jr., King Griffey Jr.,
Yeah.
Ozzie Smith. I mean, there are so many, and we're leaving off a million players who are super deserving.
Satchel Paige.
Hank Aaron, Jackie Robinson,
Honus Wagner.
Tennessee Mountain Landis. Anytime I can say Tennessee Mountain Landis, I'm going to. I should name a dog Tennessee Mountain Landis. I've never.
Did he have a handlebar mustache?
Wait, he was around in the late 1800s and early 1900s? Yes.
Just post Civil War era? Definitely.
Yeah. So the inductees this year were Harold Baines, Lee Smith, the aforementioned Mo Rivera, Roy Halladay, Edgar Martinez, and Mike Mussina.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
all probably worthy inductees. I mean, I only know some of them. Some of them must be older. Yeah.
What drives me nuts, and you know how much I love me some Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, I think, is underappreciated as a baseball player, which is crazy to me because everyone knows how amazing he is. Right? Everyone looks at the stats and they say, wow, how amazing.
Great
and then they always
player.
point to the steroids and stuff like that. But he was never suspended for it. Yeah,
it wasn't
people
even.
vouch for
I don't
him.
think it was even illegal at the time.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. And so his number keeps going up higher and higher. Like more people are putting him on the ballot.
Yeah, he started off at like 30-something%, and this year he got up to 59.1%. You need 75% to get in.
Right. And this is what I don't know what these baseball writers that have these Hall of Fame votes, I don't know, they're like trying to put their make their mark or make some sort of statement. Stop making statements, and if a player deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, put him in the Hall of Fame.
Shut up and dribble, right?
Who are you?
No.
Who are totally different? Who are you to moralize the Hall of Fame? This isn't a Hall of Fame for being a good person. Mm. Because if that were the case, Ty Cobb and Tennessee Mountain Landis wouldn't be there because they weren't great people.
Do not disparage Tennessee Mountain Landis.
I'm sorry, all you Tennessee Mountain Landis stands out there. But stop moralizing the game. He is one of the best players of all time. Probably top 3. I'm not going to say easy because there's always, well, actually, guy. But he's, in my mind, a top 3 player. Probably the best player of all time. And to have him not be in the Hall of Fame is ridiculous. To not have Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, to me, is ridiculous. Even if he were betting on himself and betting on baseball, he still had to get 3,000 plus hits. He still had to get the most hits in baseball history. Yeah. I don't care how many times you bet against yourself or bet for yourself. That's not going to instantly make you a better baseball player. He did not enhance his performance in any way, even if he was gambling on every Reds game he was ever in or coached in. So the fact that he is the hit king and that he's not in the Hall of Fame is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that the home run king, and more on some of his stats later, objectively correct plug again, it's ridiculous that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Like I said, if you turned all, I talked about this on a show before, if you take away all of Barry Bonds' home runs and turn them into strikeouts, he would have a better batting average and a better on-base percentage than tons of current Hall of Famers. So the thing that is the most tainted about his game, if you take all of it away and turn them into the worst play he could possibly get, he would still be worthy of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's a compelling argument, right? And the other kind of glaring omission right now is Roger Clemens. Among the players who are still eligible to be inducted, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are the two big omissions. So Clemens is sitting at, this year he got 59.5% of the vote.
More than Bonds, which I will never understand.
So yeah, if you're a sports writer, you have this vote, and your only argument against Bonds has to be that he took PEDs. Whether or not they were illegal at the time, kind of gray area, but your only argument for not including Bonds is that he took PEDs. So if you're in that 0.4% that didn't vote in Bonds, but did vote in Clemens, who is just as much documentation, evidence, testimony that he did take PEDs, how do you get... Because Clemens is objectively a worse baseball player. He's an amazing baseball player, was an amazing pitcher, had a lot of success, but you can't, with a straight face, say that he was a better baseball player than Barry Bonds. How does he get more votes than Barry Bonds if the criteria is I don't vote for people who took PEDs?
The answer is bias.
Bonds was not a media darling at all. And I think maybe that hurts him a little bit now. Not something you necessarily think about when you're a player.
No.
That you want to suck up to the media because someday they're going to be voting on whether or not you get into the Hall of Fame.
Right, and that's
one of the problems with the system. Like,
yeah.
maybe you do it like the NBA All-Star game, where there's a fan component, there's a player's GM component, and well, I guess that's maybe it. But you can include
I think
you got to divvy up the vote somehow, not
Yes.
just this group of individuals that, you know, especially a lot of these baseball players, they're old. They've had their votes for a long time. They don't care about analytics maybe, right? And it's just kind of, ooh, in my gut, are they a Hall of Famer? Yes. Or they're on their 10th year. This is the last time they can get in. I'm going to give, you know, the sentimental vote. That was the Edgar Martinez, right? Like, why this year and not the previous 9 years?
what changed in the last 9 years to make him a Hall of Famer?
He didn't become a better baseball player.
Yeah, he didn't play the last 9 years, right? So, the way the voting in the Baseball Hall of Fame goes is weird. I like the idea of having a Hall of Famers ballot where current Hall of Famers can vote for players and have that weigh into the situation. That way, if you get only 72% of the writers' vote, but then you get like 85% of the Hall of Famers vote, and that bumps you up to 75 total, I think you should get in. I think that's a good idea. And who better to judge Hall of Famers than guys who had played the game at the highest level and played against these other players? Because I guarantee you, pitchers that pitched against Barry Bonds will tell you he was the most feared hitter that they faced ever.
Yeah. My thing about the Hall of Fame, and it's kind of echoing what you said earlier, is that it's not a hall of good guys.
It's not.
It's a hall of who had the most impact on the game, right? Can you tell the story of baseball without including this guy? If you can't tell the story of baseball without including Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens or Pete Rose, then they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, there's going to be your random player who had a significant impact on like one game maybe, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they were a generational type player, right? They impacted significant teams over the course of multiple seasons. They led statistical categories. They were MVPs. Like, these are players that you can't just discard because you didn't like them. Or, I mean, it's one thing if you legitimately cheated, it was against the rules. But we're talking about an era where baseball wasn't really, they were looking the other way, okay? It's a different situation than A-Rod. A-Rod was suspended 211 games by Major League Baseball.
And everybody loves A-Rod.
Everyone loves him now.
You sprinkle a little J-Lo on it.
It's the J-Lo effect.
Here's a little J-Lo glitter. Got that J-Lo glitter on there, A-Rod. A little more J-Lo glitter. Little salt bay J-Lo glitter.
J-Lo bay.
J-Lo bay. So one of my favorite things we've done together.
Okay.
We've had this great podcast that I've loved putting together and that I love doing with you. And I'm ignoring that for time reasons. Okay. And you were making food, and you took your butter and put it in the skillet like this, and we called it Butter Bay.
Butter Bay.
And we sent that to our family, my family, knowing that like two people would understand.
Yeah.
So shout out
not
to
appreciated.
Yeah, shout out to the two of you that understood. But it was one of my favorite things we've ever done. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
We should probably put that on the YouTube channel, maybe.
Maybe.
I feel like the moment's passed though, and then I just explained it here on the podcast.
Yeah.
What we were talking about.
Hall of Fame. So. Yeah, if you can't tell the story of baseball without talking about Barry Bonds, then I think Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And it doesn't mean you don't tell the whole story, right? In the Barry Bonds exhibit, you know, you have a paragraph that, it was found out that he used PEDs. His trainer admitted that, yes, I supplied him with PEDs. You know, he didn't know.
Unbeknownst to him. Yeah.
And so, you know, his stats in these years may have been affected by that. But also, everyone else was doing it.
Including the pitchers who he had to hit against.
Yeah.
That's a factor that nobody talks about. The pitchers were probably doing it too. In fact, pitchers these days are still enhancing their performance with creams or sunscreen or bug spray or something to give themselves better grip on the ball. Yeah. So they are actually breaking baseball rules. And no one's talking about it.
Baseball's such a weird sport that way. It's like, if you break these rules, we shun you.
We disgrace you forever.
But if you're not trying to break these other rules, you're not a baseball player. Right?
It's such a weird thing. These like rules about hitting certain people, not hitting other people.
Yeah, the unwritten rules of baseball, how you can slide, don't step on his ankle. I mean, come on. Right.
Should we do objectively correct now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I think, are you leading it off this time? You're leading off objectively correct
I will
this time,
lead
right?
it off, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So you're leading off objectively correct. Do it. How many do you have? I have 5.
I have 6.
All right.
Or 7, but I'm good. I'll discard one. Golden State's win over Boston on Saturday marked the 300th victory as a head coach for Steve Kerr. He breaks Pat Riley's NBA record for fewest losses at the time of his 300th win. Kerr reached 300 wins with 77 losses. Riley had 116 losses when he earned his 300th win. This is also a meaningless statistic because Steve Kerr coaches the Golden State Warriors. Luke Walton was like 25-0 with the Golden State Warriors. So congratulations, Steve Kerr. You have Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, and a host of other people who bought in.
Sean Livingston. Okay. This is going a few weeks back. Patriots and Chiefs played in the AFC Championship game a couple weeks ago. In that game, the Patriots had 36 players on the roster who had played in an AFC Championship game previously, for a total of 123 games, AFC Championship games that they've played in. The Kansas City Chiefs had 0 such players.
I've got a very similar statistic coming up. I'll get to that in a minute. Kenneth Faried assisted on James Harden's first quarter floater in their last game, in the Rockets' last game, snapping Harden's streak of 87 consecutive field goals without one being assisted. So that means he created every shot for 87 shots that went in. That streak was more than twice as long as any other player in the last 10 seasons. The next closest was Steve Nash with 42.
Oh. Russell Westbrook recently recorded his 120th career triple-double. It's his 7th career triple-double, shooting 25% or worse from the field, tying Bob Cousy for the most in NBA history. And I think he'll get a few more before he's done.
Jared Goff needed only 3 seasons to reach the Super Bowl, which is the fewest by any quarterback picked number 1 overall in NFL history.
Wow. James Harden had 304 consecutive unassisted points.
That's incredible. Julian Edelman has caught 83 passes for 54 first downs over his last 10 postseason games. Both are NFL highs for a span of 10 playoff games.
That's all he does.
Yeah, he's the Chris Carter of first downs.
Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell is averaging 30.4 points and 6.1 assists over his last 10 games.
Say that again.
Jazz guard Donovan Mitchell is averaging 30.4 points and 6.1 assists over his last 10 games.
Wow. Good for you, Spider. Rams come into Sunday. This is similar to the one you had. The Rams come into Sunday with just 4 players on their roster who have played in a Super Bowl before. 4. 3 of them actually won a Super Bowl.
Hey.
The Patriots have 36 players on their roster who have played in a previous Super Bowl. They have 38 who were on the roster. 2 didn't play, apparently. And 27 of those players have won a Super Bowl.
In a week, we are all Los Angeles Rams. Here we go. This is just one of many Barry Bonds stats. Barry Bonds is the only member of the 500 home run, 500 steals club. He's also the only member of the 400 home run and 400 steals club.
Wow. Those PEDs really helped him steal the bases.
Let that settle in, everybody. Should I read that again for effect? Because I think that's...
Read it again after my next one.
All right.
If Stephen Curry... I just call him Steph for short.
I thought you and him were tight.
Yeah.
With your Lakers hat on.
If Steph Curry missed his next 1,000 3-point attempts, his career 3-point percentage would still be higher than James Harden's.
No!
He could miss 1,000 straight. All right, and then you want to read it again?
Barry Bonds is the only member of the 500 home run and 500 steals club. He's also the only member of the 400 home run and 400 steals club.
Amazing.
The only one.
Amazing. And
Put him
then
in the Hall of Fame.
real super important statistic I found earlier today.
Okay.
Factoid. A quarter has 119 grooves on its edge. A dime, 118. Chew on that.
The combined total of a quarter and a dime is not worth that stat that you just gave.
Probably true.
Okay.
More than we make on this podcast, though.
I already shouted out to Taco Bell. We all expect
Taco Bell.
They got that chalupa money.
Bassmasters.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to jump on the subjectively correct train while it's hot? Podcast. It's the next media moneymaker, according to the Ringer.
Well said.
Yes.
And that's why you should advertise with us.
All
Brilliant
right.
quips like that.
So finish up. I just wanted to talk about the Super Bowl. It's coming up on Sunday.
It's so hard for me to talk about the Super Bowl this week because it's like we have no idea what's going to happen.
No, we have no idea. But I think if there's anything I learned from
Tony Romo knows.
Tony, tell us.
Tony knows.
Tony knows. That's the next great documentary.
Yeah.
Is the conspiracy of how he knows.
I already explained it.
He's from the future.
Just rewind about 30 minutes and I explained it. He's not from the future.
The one stat I read just blew me away. In his last 83 catches, Julian Edelman has caught 54 first downs.
That's ridiculous.
Right? And if you watched the Patriots-Chiefs, in my mind, the Chiefs outplayed the Patriots in the second half, but they weren't able to get ahead and create separation because they couldn't get the Patriots off the field on third down.
Yeah.
There were so many third and longs that Tom Brady completed to Gronk and Edelman and Hogan on the catch and on catch. That it was super frustrating. I'm not a huge Chiefs fan. I wanted them to win, but it was just like, again? Like how they have to throw the ball. You know they're going to go over the middle, but you can't stop it. And so my key, there's keys to the game. I
didn't know we were going to do keys to the game.
My key to the game is get the Patriots off the field. Don't let them score. Right? So it's the third down pressure. When Brady feels pressure, he's a much worse.
He's more worse.
He's less good.
He's more worser.
He's less good than
worser.
he normally would otherwise be. Like any quarterback, but it really affects Brady more because he's not as mobile. He's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He can't run outside the pocket and hit someone throwing across his body. No, that's just not his game.
I won't call him cement-footed.
Lead-footed?
I was thinking like anvil-footed. Like,
Acme anvil-footed?
Yeah. Like Wile E. Coyote.
So, I mean, the key to, you look at his Super Bowl losses, the Giants, their front, the pressure they were able to put on him.
Pressure with 4.
Yeah, and so you're the Rams. You went all in this offseason. You gave Aaron Donald his money. You signed Ndamukong Suh. Like, let those guys eat. Wade Phillips, draw up pressure.
Wade Phillips' dad's name is Bum.
Did you see Wade Phillips getting off the plane?
Bum Phillips. He was wearing Bum's jacket.
And a cowboy hat.
Yeah, it looked great. It was cool. It was a nice little throwback to his pops, right?
Yeah.
Bum Phillips. So the important thing for the Patriots is not just that pressure, but pressure up the middle. If you get pressure up the middle, there's nothing because the Patriots offense thrives on getting the ball out of Tom Brady's hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And he can step up in the pocket, but going outside, yeah.
Right, and that's the thing. So pressure from the outside isn't as important. It's quick pressure up the middle, and the way teams always seem to get beaten by the Patriots is the outside edge rushers. That's usually how teams get their pressure. But Tom Brady is never going to do the Carolina Panthers Cam Newton style of offense where he'll do a 7 or sometimes a 9-step drop, sit at the top of his drop, and then have to make a read and a throw. It's never going to be that way. It's going to be a 1-2-3, sometimes a 5, sometimes out of shotgun and a 1 or 2-step drop, and then get the ball out. It's rhythm, it's timing, and the only way to disrupt it when the timing is that quick is to get that pressure up the middle. And I feel like the Rams are built for that with Donald and Suh. Now the key is going to be, can the Patriots running game tire out those big defensive linemen? And if it does, then they won't be effective in the fourth quarter. So I see one of two things happening. Early in the game, they established the run, and things look kind of sluggish for the Patriots to start. But by the fourth quarter, the Patriots are going to go no huddle and they're going to speed the game up, and the Rams pass rush is going to disappear. Mm-hmm. And then Brady's going to start picking apart the secondary. Or
yeah, and if there's anything we learned from the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl, no lead is safe.
No.
They will chip away at that lead, and all of a sudden it's a tie ball game and they win.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you give Brady a chance to win at the end,
he might get some help, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that could happen is they stop the run early. They don't give up big plays early. And if they can do that, then they'll be fresh and they'll be able to get that pass rush up the middle, and it'll disrupt the Patriots' rhythm on offense.
Yeah.
But that all being said, you have to go out and execute it. And there's no quarterback better at executing the plan and executing the offense than Thomas Brady.
Thomas Melville Brady.
What's his middle name?
I have no idea.
Does Giselle know his middle name?
Probably not.
I doubt it. That's not a knock on Giselle. Who calls him Tom Brady?
I'm hoping for an entertaining Super Bowl like we've had the last few years, like the games last weekend.
Tom Joseph. I feel like Tom Joseph Brady would be good.
Last thing to end on.
Like Joe Montana.
Bill Belichick, evil genius. It was revealed this week.
What do you mean this week? He's been an evil genius for 50 years.
It was further cemented into his legacy this week. Sean McVay at a press conference noted, they asked about his relationship with Bill Belichick. He's like, oh, it's great. He started texting me this year after each of our games and say, oh, I really liked what you did here, and we talk football. So Bill Belichick essentially has the entire Rams playbook now. They've been sharing notes all season. Bill Belichick's not texting Andy Reid. He's not texting Sean Payton. Somehow he knew that he was going to play Sean McVay in the Super Bowl.
And the Saints mysteriously get a no call at the end of the game. Things are smelling pretty fishy.
I sense another gate coming on.
Right?
Text gate.
I am no text gate. I am no conspiracy theorist. But this Patriot stuff is starting to feel kind of Roswell to me.
Yeah.
That was an alien reference because of Roswell, New Mexico.
Area 51.
That was a worse reference to what I was doing, a more obvious one.
Independence Day.
That's a Will Smith joint.
Mm.
Or would you call it a Jeff Goldblum joint? Your thoughts?
See you next week.
Aw. Are we going to talk about that next week?
We will have the answer to that next week as we break down the Super Bowl play by play.
Okay, so we'll break down the Super Bowl after we break down Independence Day. Not the new one. The original with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. All right, Adam McCreary, I want to see you pitching for the Dodgers this year.
Do you really?